the defense has a good show, and he could find himself, back behind the bench whenever next season starts.
No, you bring up a great point. It's a great incentive for him to work with these guys, and definitely, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to keep that job, especially now with this team? I mean, the guy's a veteran. He's played against some of the best players in the league, as far as the NHL is concerned, over the last 20 some odd years, or even more than that. So, and this is all a part of it, as far as these guys, taking these coaching jobs, assistant coaching jobs, trying to aspire. And look, it's. I think this is just going to be such a trip once it does get going, because you'd hate to also see at the end of this I mean, we'll be able to watch as fans, but if the defense does get ripped through or whatever, then it'll be like, can you imagine? Because, we talked about that too, as well as, with Lindy taking the job and then not, he's not going to be here for the tournament. And, even though one way, if you look at the season as a whole, Lindy knew these guys. He knew them inside and out. Now, obviously, Murph being with them, he joined last August, so I guess he saw a couple of these guys a little bit. But, Lindy's the guy who stood behind these guys this whole season. And he kind of, you have to feel, especially the run that the Rangers were trying to, get into the playoffs here at the end. He kind of knew which way these guys would move, and who knows? You wonder if it's that'd be something interesting to find out too, whether or not this is. I haven't seen too many or any comments from the players about Lindy moving on, or certainly not negative, and I don't think that would ever come out of the Rangers locker room anyway. But it'll be interesting to find out, obviously it's not a regular season. It's not a regular anything coming up here in a couple of weeks. But it'll be interesting to see how these guys play. You'd hate to see that if these guys, become Swiss cheese. And like you were saying, is it fair to knock a guy like Murphy, who's just going to come in here and work with these guys for the first time on such a fast, tournament? Man, if they get through the first round, the pressure of moving on, I mean, it's look, it's all great stuff, right? It's not our problem, right? We're not gonna lose our job. We're not gonna lose our gig. We're not gonna be benched. It's not gonna affect any of our NHL careers that we don't have. But it's definitely another storyline for the Rangers right before this thing happens. An experienced NHL coach leaves a inexperienced and a first they didn't even get to play a full season together defensive squad. And he goes, and now they got a new guy behind the bench, so it'll be something to see. And I think these guys will, as they've kind of proved to us all season long, they'll handle it and they'll be all right.
I'd have to assume that the player's opinion of Ruff is not the opinion that most fans have of Ruff. I'd anticipate that they probably liked him. I can't imagine, like you said. I mean, I haven't seen any negative. Not the NHL. It usually. Very rarely do you see a player sort of throw their coach under the bus, or even after he left, to talk badly about him. But I have a feeling that they're probably missing him more than the fans are at this point. Even though they had a bit of a tough year, he is that sort of veteran coach who's been around the block, and I'm sure that they've learned a lot from him during his tenure here. So I can't imagine that you'd hear any bad words from any of the players on about Ruff.
I hear you, man. I hear.
I'm so happy to see that he left. But again, I'm just a fan. So
that's all right. Well, speaking of defensemen, and maybe we'll wrap up the show on this, is Foxy getting the Calder snub this year. I mean, I brought it up earlier, but I don't think we really talked about it too much. But your take on that, if it's how much of a big deal is it for you?
Not really a big deal at all. I mean, if you look at the guys that, and I really hadn't watched many of the rookies, I've mentioned this on the show before, as I've gotten older, I've really just sort of focused on the Rangers now, where, when I was doing my blog, and even when I was younger, I could tell you, what everybody's doing on every team throughout the league. I knew every player. I knew all this, that. I've definitely have, as I'm getting older, just focusing on my team more. So I really haven't watched the three guys who are nominated, but just looking at their numbers, I mean, Hughes, who's also a defenseman, had better offensive numbers than Fox. So right there, he's not going to be in there over Hughes. Even if you may look at both of their defensive games and say, well, I thought Fox was better, I think when they're picking this type of things, I think they're always going to go with like the sexier pick and, the guy with more points, and the other two players are, the guy from Chicago is putting up, 30 goals as a rookie. It's tough to crack that top three, especially when the numbers. And look, Fox had 42 points this year as a rookie. I mean, that he had a tremendous, tremendous year. I don't think his game is, like I said, sort of like electric and that sexy look. He's just a solid player who had a tremendous year. And I think he had some stiff competition too. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from the three guys who were nominated because they all three had just phenomenal years. But I'm not sitting here, moping about it. I'm happy that Fox is on our team, and I hope he continues to develop and progress, and for him to turn into the best Rangers defenseman since Brian Leetch. And that's all that really matters, not whether or not he's winning the Calder or not.
I agree with you, man. Long term, man. I mean, he's got great vision of the ice. He's just getting started. It's there. We can see the potential in him, just all around, and he's just going to hopefully grow. And, we have had some great defensemen kind of, come out of this organization. So hopefully he's just another one of those guys that, again, is forget the Calder. There's a bigger one. There's a bigger trophy that I'm sure he wants and all of us want. A lot more important than that one. And a great tip of the hat, like I said, to the other kids that they did that had some monster years. And it's all good, man. So, hey, like I said, Foxy's a Ranger, and hopefully stays that way for a long, long time. So it's good stuff. So, buddy, I mean, we're if I don't know, 3-4 days here, training camp, anything else that we're missing here tonight that we haven't touched on, unless there's something that you want to kind of, maybe I forgot to bring up, but is there any other take that you can, give to us, to me, the fans, that outside of just being excited to see hockey again, anything else that stood out from these first couple of days of them getting back in the ice?
I really do. I think it just comes down to enjoy it, because we don't know how long this will last, as I've been saying. And again, I hate to be, Debbie Downer here. I don't know how long this will last. So enjoy it. Your favorite team is back out on the ice, and we were able to actually discuss line combinations today and who's going to be the starting goaltender again. And that's good. That's great. I'm really excited for it. I'm excited for this team and where they can go, because I think they have a legitimate shot to make some noise, because I think that they have sort of a why not us attitude going into it. We're we're a young team that's sort of ahead of schedule on the rebuild. So why not us? I think that they can look to last year and where the St. Louis Blues were. I think any team could look at that, and it's probably, some of these play-in teams and say, look, if the Blues were able to do it last year, maybe we can too. And that's really it. Just I think we could all sit here and debate and get upset about the whole Corona thing, and should they be playing, and is it the right thing to do, and these players are being put in a potentially harmful situation. But I think we should all just try to enjoy it, because it could be taken away, in a day. Like I said, 72 NFLers testing positive, and MLS games being canceled already. My son's lacrosse team is now in quarantine for 14 days. And
now, buddy, and buddy, you can't go to a bar now in New York you can't get a drink unless you order food now. Just today, so.
Yeah, I think that everybody should sit back and enjoy what we can get at this point, and be happy that, again, the timeline is filled with hockey instead of political arguments or coronavirus arguments, and whether something should be opening or not. It's a good time and enjoy it while it lasts, because it may not last very long. Again, I'm hoping that it does, and I'm praying, and that's really where everybody should be. Just enjoy it, live in the now. If it stops, it stops, and that's fine. And I appreciate, again, I said this last week, I appreciate, that Bettman is at least trying, and I think has done a very competent job here in setting it up where they're going to have the bubbles, and they've got it out of the United States, and I think the tournament with the play-in rounds was a great idea to get some of those bubble teams in. Look, the Rangers wouldn't even be in it if they just said, nope, we're taking the top 8. I think it brings a little bit more excitement to this tournament if they can get it going, and keep more fan bases interested. And I'm real interested to see what it looks like on TV without the fans. I saw today the Mets were tweeting out the cardboard cutouts that they were selling.
Have you taken your selfie yet?
No, I didn't do it yet. I was looking at the pictures today. I was dying laughing. It's so funny. So I think you need to have fun with what's going on, because it can be overwhelming, and you can get caught up in the awfulness of what's going on, and take a look at the Mets and the cardboard cutouts and just sort of laugh
buddy,
a little bit. And
the Mets could do themselves a huge favor and just put paper bags, eyes cut out on every chair. We're
gonna win the fake Major League Baseball World Series the same way that the Rangers gonna win the fake Stanley Cup this year.
Wouldn't that be a trip, buddy? And you wouldn't be able to go to either parade.
I know, it's terrible. Really, that's what's gonna happen to us, Ranger fans, especially Met fans. Forget it. Yeah, we definitely won't be able to celebrate. Everybody will say it's not a real World Series. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
All right, man. Yeah. It's good stuff, man. At least, like I said, we got something to kind of sit back and look forward to. And, yes, you nailed it, man, talking about lines and goaltending and coaches and decisions, and it's all good stuff. And, like I said, throw everybody in the mix there on the 29th against the Islanders, man. Let's fire it up and get worked up for that game.
Get Michael Haley out there to start a fight.
Yes! Yes! I want that so much, man. It should be a blast. Because, like I said, that could be the only game we get. Let's go all in. All good stuff. Hey, everybody who's been continuing to listen, subscribe, and download, and hang with me and Kevin every week during this break. We really appreciate it. And, thanks again for tuning in. As always, we will be back next week and the following, leading up to the first game. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. KD, as always, say goodbye to the folks.
Bye, folks.
And as always, let's go, Rangers!